Welcome back. Dale Myers with Vision Advanced. Today we're going to discuss crises in business. Anticipate and manage or become a statistic. So recently I was having a discussion with someone who's having some business issues, and he was thinking, well, this is very bad. And we went through kind of like a framing strategy and identified some core things that were at issue, and he was like, well, it can't get any worse than this. And I began to ask further questions. In reality, he had not anticipated his worst case scenario. And just like in our personal lives, you've probably heard the expression that you're either going into a crisis, coming out of a crisis, or you're in the middle of one right now. Your business is the same way. So it's not a question of, are we going to have a crisis? There are really only two questions. When is it coming, and what kind will it be? And so there are a few different types of crises that you can have in your business, but all of them require forethinking, considering the worst case scenario on the front end, at least as best as we can predict it, because we know that there's a certain level of uncertainty. Some issues that you might run into: personnel crises, financial, of course, natural disasters, that presents a crisis, technological crises. So, and again, there are a couple different others, but the point is, you need to start thinking, which of these am I most vulnerable? And then come up with a plan. Now, truth of the matter is, in all of these areas, we're going to have some start of a plan, some part of a plan. But think about, which of those areas am I most vulnerable, and come up with the worst case scenario, the absolute worst case scenario. And you have to be honest. You have to be honest here. You come up with the worst case scenario, and then you go with, okay, well, if that were to happen, what would I do? Write down as many solutions as you can. And here's the thing, you want to try to get up to about 20 different solutions. The first 5 or 6 are going to be easy. Well, not easy, at least they'll be easier, but you want to write as many as you can. And the whole point is, you want to force your brain to think of creative ways to solve this worst case scenario before it ever happens. Do that for each and every one of your problems that you can think of, the absolute worst case scenarios. This is a good exercise because you will at least have some idea, because in the middle of a crisis, you don't necessarily want to use fast thinking, you want to use slow thinking, but it's hard to do that in the middle of a crisis. So let's prepare before there is a crisis and do our slow thinking, where we take the time to think through all the details and do the what ifs and do some analysis, best, worst case scenarios. And also, here's the thing. This technique also works for forward thinking of what happened if everything was going the way I wanted it to go in my business. No, that's not a crisis, but it's the similar thinking. I just want to share that with you. Is you can also do this on the other side to say, what if the absolute best case scenario happened? Then what would I do? Then how would I navigate my business? So how would I lead my division? And again, these kind of things work no matter where you are in your business. This works because all of our businesses can be threatened by, again, natural disaster. As I'm recording this video, it's thunderstorm going all around me now. I'm hearing it in the background. But natural disasters, again, technologies. I didn't mention this one, but it could be geopolitical stuff. Some of you are doing business in countries around the world because there's some opportunity there, but it's also perhaps not as stable. That could represent a crisis to your business. So what's your action plan? Consider the worst case scenario. All right, so we will go a little deeper at some point in the future, and I will actually give you some suggested action plans. But the most important thing that you can do right now is to think, what is the worst case scenario that could happen to my business? Is there some key person that if something happened to them, it would hurt my business? Is it something, if it happened to me, what is the worst case scenario? Come up with contingency plans, as many as you can come up with. Force yourself to think, challenge yourself. All right, I'm Dale Myers with Vision Advanced. Please leave a comment below if you had any specific questions or something you'd like to suggest related to crisis management in the future, because again, they are coming. Some of you know you're in one. Let's think about it on the front end. Let's anticipate so that we can manage better. We're in the business of managing organizations, managing people. So we have to manage in advance. We'll get the best case scenario there. Again, I'm Dale Myers with Vision Advanced. You guys make sure you thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And even if you have subscribed, please press the little notification button so that you'll be notified when the videos are going live. Y'all take care.